Awesome. Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
We had some, not oddball, but some left of field overdrives floating around that we wanted to share with you guys because we've been having a play. We've been getting some really great sounds, but sounds that you wouldn't, that are just, you know.
Yeah, well, it's a whole different approach.
It is a whole different approach.
And before we get into it, please subscribe.
Oh, please subscribe. Here, yes.
If you're not already subscribed, down there in that corner,
Tune my guitar. Go on.
is a little icon, and you can hold your mouse over it or whatever it is, and click it and subscribe to our channel. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Have I said that enough? Thank you very much. Yeah. So, speaking personally for a second, I like op-amp based overdrives.
Right.
Such as the Ibanez Tube Screamer.
Yes.
Using the old JRC 4558 or whatever it is, that IC that creates the noise.
Yes.
And then something else clips it.
Yep.
Some of these pedals work in a similar way, but not really, because we're using transistors instead of an op-amp in some of them. And it ends up in quite a different sound, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So the whole op-amp thing, you've got an op-amp and you've got diodes, and the op-amp creates gain. Most of the diodes do a lot of the clipping, but the op-amp is very important because that is what is producing the gain, the level.
Operational amplifier.
Very good. So, you know, and the way that the
Looking for the bell.
give yourself a ding. The transistors were the first way that they were doing fuzz. So really, we could have, you know, included any other fuzzes here, but
yeah, and hopefully the title of the video will end up being something like overdrives for all of you who don't want a normal overdrive.
There you go.
Because that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
And whether that's because you don't like the sound of normal overdrives or you want to augment your gain offering with something a bit different.
Yeah, and I love that. Just searching for things that just sort of separate your guitar sound from the mainstream.
I have to say, it's not. I mean, take that sound that you opened up the show with. There was a time in my life where I didn't really understand sounds like that.
Right.
And I didn't appreciate them in a way that I could like them. And I think I find myself in recent years really starting to understand them more and enjoy them and understanding where they're more relevant.
Right.
So, for example, when the broadcast came along, it's the best pedal in the world. Look at that switch. Check this out. All right. All switches should be like that.
Yeah.
And it really piqued my interest. So maybe you can help me and the good people of YouTube through a little journey of these pedals.
Okay.
Where should we begin?
Let's begin with the JHS Colour Box. So this is a mixing desk input style preamp in a box.
Essentially based on a Neve channel, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I would say heavily inspired by.
Okay.
You know.
And at the moment we've got we've got it configured for guitar, but it's got an XLR input, so you can put whatever you like through this because it's full range, full EQ, isn't it?
So the story behind this, you know, and a lot of you will know, a lot of great guitar sounds were created, especially in the 70s, by guys just plugging their guitars straight into the desk.
Yep.
It had been a long day, you know. Their roadie had forgotten to.
They were looking for new sounds, weren't they, as well?
Yeah.
They were looking for different sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, I can just... But that's great. I love that idea of, you know, guys talking to Jimmy Page saying, how did you get this sound? Oh, man, I just plugs my telly straight to the desk, you know. Awesome. So that's what this is based on. So if we have a quick listen to this, it's got...
Amps today are 50 watt plexi, reissue 1987 XL, not officially called L, but it does have a loop.
Yep, sounds like this. just warm, creamy goodness.
Set really clean. Set really clean. And Dan's Lazy J20. Yeah, and they work very nicely together. Okay, so all right, let's get onto the colour box then. So right, I'm going to have to. This is a gain thing, isn't it?
Yes. So every time you turn it to the right, it increases by an exponential amount.
So if you does it pop when I turn it?
Probably. Let's have a go. A little bit.
So you can go from this. Let's just turn the master right down. Pass on. Yeah.
You have a go. That is so much fun.
I just. So what I was doing there was we had for the first part of the demo we had the high pass filter, which obviously enables you to shelve off bottom frequencies at a point that you like, and they all came back when we turned it off, obviously. So and then maximum gain, maximum pre-volume gives you your maximum overdrive, and the opposite gives you the maximum clean headroom. Such a good sound.
Raspy and punchy and...
That's the best I've ever heard that sound.
It is going through the Marshall and the J. I don't know what I was going through before, but that is, I mean, it's awesome.
It's really cool.
It's great, isn't it?
I'm going to take it home, and for everything I record from now on is going to go through that.
Yeah.
Because obviously you don't have to have it overdriving like that.
No, of course.
So much gain makeup. It is a little bit noisy, is it?
Yeah, but you've got so much... Exactly,
yeah, I've got a tremendous
so much
amount of gain happening there.
Yeah. An interesting thing about the colour box is the transformer that they use. So you're getting a lot of the colour, and you know the way that the transformer reacts when it's getting hit with so much.
Yeah, because we kind of made it. What were we making break there? Was that the transistors?
Well, so
it's just overload, was it?
Yeah, the overload, but the transformer does cave
at
a point, and so you're getting that as well.
Nice.
I mean, it is. It's a really, really cool sound. Really cool sound. Right, so if we have a look at the two-stroke now by Orange. So this is it's basically it's an EQ.
2 parametric EQ boost.
Right.
So by the looks of things, we've got high parametric and low parametric.
So I just thought this would be fun, seeing how this works in conjunction with these other.
Let's go on. You play. Let me have a twiddle.
Oh man, that's ace. Oh my goodness.
There's a lot to learn here.
Right.
So it's not a secret as such, but I'll explain something about this. As well as doing this video today, we're also making a bit of a behind the scenes video, which will tie into some of the audio production stuff that happens. So depending where you place a microphone on a speaker cabinet, or really just the guitar sound in general, there's a few key frequencies with electric guitar that really make a massive difference. The first one is anything between about, well, of course, they all make a massive difference, but there are some that are really key to tuning
Right.
particular sound. Presency kind of cut sizzle exists between about 2.5K upwards.
Right.
And there's a real nice bit around 4K. And then there's another real nice bit around 8 to 10K.
Right.
And the reason that I'm saying that is because this parametric EQ lets you select right up here at 8.5K. In fact, this is what 8.5K sounds like. And then I'll keep the parametric mid boosted all the way, and I'll sweep back down through the back down from 8.5K down,
Okay.
and you can hear what those treble frequencies sound like.
Okay. So it's cut and boost?
Cut and boost.
Wow.
So that was an example of what happens when you essentially, if you imagine it on a graphic EQ and you've got if you boosted a certain frequency, what you would be doing is moving your boosted frequency along the frequency bandwidth.
Spectrum.
And quite often when I'm mixing the audio for this, there's a little job to do around between 2 and 4K, if it's sounding a bit spiky and a bit kind of, and up from there you can add a little bit of presence on just so that it sounds as present as it does here in the room. Same story for bass frequency. So the bass frequency, a kind of 4x12 cabinet resonance, is anywhere between 80 and 120 hertz, and that's where you get and let's prove that. That's 120 hertz completely cut. That's 120 hertz, kind of neither boosted nor cut, I think.
Right, yeah.
And then...
Oh,
yeah. That's 120 hertz boosted. And again, I'll do the same thing. I'll just boost it slightly and go through the frequency range.
Okay. That is powerful.
That is about as powerful as a tone shaper in a boost as I've come across.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you're, so the relevance of that is if you're hitting another overdrive, which is what Dan was talking about before I started banging on about frequencies, was that using that as a shaper, either to shape the sound of your amp, to change the sound of your guitar. You know, let's say you've got a Strat. Let's see. In fact, that'd be an interesting aside there. So Strats are weak in the middle, right?
They can be. They can be.
They can be.
So this is without it. Just play.
And of course, what we haven't touched at all yet is the gain pot, which I guess is going to probably blow our levels a little bit. Starting to push the amps, isn't it? Just stick it on and off a sec. Has the ability to really add weight.
It's amazing. You could also, I'm thinking, use that as a clean sound.
Yeah.
Clean sound pedal. Because it's not completely clean, you can hit this edge in there.
Yeah.
But I think that sounds amazing. That is so cool.
We like that.
Yeah, big fans. Oh, well done, Orange. That's great. Okay. My mate Scotty Smith from ProAnalog Devices. I've wanted a power booster for the longest time. And they're impossibly rare, and if they ever come up on eBay, they get snapped up because...
Give us a clue.
The original Colour Sound Power Booster.
Right.
It's a massive part of the Gilmour Davey G sound. The original Power Booster didn't have a crazy amount of gain, but there's a few guys that use them. Dave Gilmour being one. 70s guitar player, died in a car crash. Glam.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mark
Bolan. And, you know, him using that into high watts and things. And that was also, you know, part of his thing. Now, I saw Scotty was making these, and I had to have one because I've been a fan of ProAnalog Devices forever, and this is Scotty's take on the power driver, but it has more gain in it. So
The treble is such an important component in the whole sound, isn't it? Because that's what's really overdriving.
Yep.
When I went onto the neck pickup there, it just lost a bit of, because there wasn't the treble there to rasp. Cool sound.
It's extraordinary.
Cool sound.
It's extraordinary. But I love the dynamic range, because normally with fuzz pedals, you've got to get the fuzz and go, eh. But with this, every area of it is usable.
Yeah.
You know, so from, you know, having the attack all the way off and the level up and higher. As a boost, it's just amazing.
Such a cool sound. If I press 2 now, will the orange come on?
Yes. Goosebumps, man. It's awesome.
Broadcast.
Okay. The broadcast has similarities to the Colour Box in that there are elements of that desk thing about it. With the transformer and...
Just going to say one thing.
Yes.
Josh is going to be with us on next Tuesday from JHS.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's a switch.
That is a switch.
That's not a switch.
I like the analogy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
There's something about it that calls to me. So, the broadcast.
Oh, look at those knobs.
I know. No, look. If you have a look inside the broadcast, it's all done hand wired on a breadboard, and it is beautiful. So
couldn't they have used a circuit board?
It's old school, baby. It's old school. Hudson Electronics, company from the UK, and they're making some extraordinary stuff. I love. There are certain things about this that I absolutely love. So that the big switch that you like so much is 2 different levels of gain. So if we start from this side.
Is that a high cut?
This is a low cut.
Okay, it's
Right.
working the opposite way around. Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
Ah, okay. Low cut is the same as high pass.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go. And then we can get...
Sounds good.
Yep, the gain trim here, so... And here's the big switch that you like. Killer, right?
I blast that all day.
Yeah.
How does it sound like the single coils? Can you make it sound like it's broken? Go on. Yes.
Wonderful, right?
I turned the orange on part way through that. That's so cool. That's so far, clearly the orange is a great booster.
Yep.
Clearly.
Yep.
And a really powerful tone shaper.
Yep.
JHS Colour Box is a very specific thing.
Yes.
And if you want that direct sound and a pushing preampy type thing, definitely a thing. Power Driver, I think, starts to move into... I'm not really into ordinary overdrive pedals. I want something different that also sounds great. Yes. That, to me, and I guess their success thus far would attest to this, is the overdrive pedal for people who don't like overdrive pedals.
Yeah. Yeah.
But don't want like a high gain distortion or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It reacts unlike any other.
I can't believe it's been sat on the blooming shelf for that long and I didn't realise how cool it was.
It's amazing. It is amazing.
It never ends, people. It never ends. While we were listening to it and while we were playing it, in my brain I'm going, our producer, cameraman Simon, is going to want this. Because he's not really into your average op-amp overdrive.
Right.
And I know that he likes things like this.
Okay.
So he also likes the Lazy J.
Okay.
Can we hear it into the J and into the Marshall separately?
Sure.
Just to hear the difference.
Yeah, yeah. So here's the Marshall.
Okay. Should we do the telly, seeing as that's where we were?
Okay. Sorry, let me just digest that. How good is that though?
It's
Oh my giddy aunt.
Jay.
Totally.
Kind of reminds me of an old amp type overdrive.
Right.
You know, like if you had... We're going to do this. We're going to do the Supros and that kind of stuff because there are pedals designed to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
And it just reminds me of something like that, or maybe a crapping out tweed Fender
Mm-hmm.
where the overdrive isn't smooth and nicely clipped. It's, you know, it's transformers braking
Yeah.
and valves overdriving.
Yeah.
Great. Which brings us neatly to possibly the most interestingly configured overdrive pedal we've ever had on the show.
Absolutely. Agree.
So the guys from Lightning Boy got in contact and said, we do this cool pedal, can we send you one to have a look at? We said, yes, please do. Really interesting. So it's a valve OD. And if you ignore this for a second, that is the overdrive pedal.
Yes. There's only one in and one out. These are simply controlling stages of this.
Yes, and when this is off, all we're hearing is the overdrive pedal.
That's right.
So shall we have a listen to it?
Let's have a listen to it.
There's a lot to like there.
There's a lot to like there.
It's not, in fact, it's not a million miles from the broadcast, is it, in terms of what it's doing with that kind of raspy...
It's really interesting because it's valve overdrive, but it doesn't have that valve compression. You know, it's fat and massive, but it has that edge.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool.
About as far away from a Tube Screamer as you could possibly
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Now, okay, we're going to explain this. We're not entirely sure why it's configured like this, but it is configured like this. These two things are both completely passive.
Yes.
And all the power is doing is powering the LEDs.
Mm-hmm.
So if you imagine that this middle one isn't here, the little solo sidecar module, imagine that's not there. If you have the sidecar module plugged into this, it gives you extra functionality. Now, Lightning Boy also does other sidecar modules.
Well, do they?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not sure there's one available yet, but the plan is the modular design means that you can have different kinds of sidecar modules.
Right.
Which certainly makes this and this make much more sense.
Okay.
Because if you just want that, you can have that. And then if you want it to sound a certain way, you get sidecar module channel 2. And then, you know, presumably if there are other ones, you can get other ones that do different things.
Right.
Right? So, all this is doing is turning this on or off.
Yes.
So if you only had these two, this would always be on and you'd select between 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have two sounds, right? You couldn't just have this without that.
Right.
When you introduce this, it turns this off and on, and then you can have sound 1, sound 2, sound 3. So we've done sound 1.
Yep.
We're on to sound 2.
Got it.
There's obviously a reason, but it probably would have been okay to put this switch on here or on here, would it? Do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. It's similar to sorry, excuse me. Similar to the boost switch that you've got from Kingsley.
Yeah.
That disconnects the tone stack. But this is basically what this is doing is adding in Okay. I believe this is what it's doing. If you have a play. So when this is off, this is basically...
Yep.
Now when I turn this on, the gain is reduced. So if my calculations are correct, this and this should now be exactly the same as this. Oh, it's not.
I'll tell you why. In the manual, it does say that you get a slight gain reduction when you use the sidecar module.
Okay, there you go.
But your thinking is correct.
Right, okay. So...
having it connected means that there's a slight gain reduction.
Okay.
And a slight, because you're introducing more components into the circuit, presumably you get a roll-off in the top end as well.
Yeah, because also with the impedance, these are going to be really, really sensitive to that sort of stuff.
Yep.
For me...
Awesome off the volume control.
It's... That's fantastic.
Sounds immense.
One big knob. That's what they should have called it.
Why?
Lightning boy.
Thank you, Capitan.
One big knob.
I am going to retrieve
OBK.
I'm going to retrieve one of those cables in a sec and give the sidecar module another chance, because I think there is a practical application for it.
I think there's an application for it. How practical that is.
No, it's not practical. I agree. Not least for where the jacks are placed.
That is my big issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
you know what? I in its defence, I'm going to say that, again, it's one of those overdrive pedals for people who don't like overdrives.
sure.
I can absolutely see then there would be completely pointless at the point I'm about to make, which is you just put it on top of your amp. You would then have to walk over and switch it.
Right.
So yes, no, it is impractical. You're right. And thanks, Simon. Simon's just retrieved the very nicely made TRS
They are made very beautifully.
mini jack there.
Go on then.
Yeah, because you would maybe if it's an always on thing, I don't know. I would worry about stepping on these.
Of course.
So
That's my whole problem. I think it's it can be great. If these were at the back.
yeah. So there's a development objective.
I think as a pedal, I think it sounds absolutely outstanding, and that on its own, amazing, amazing.
So what you've got then, obviously, is the chance to go.
Okay, now see if you can get those three sounds just by using your volume control.
You make a strong point.
I think it
Well,
sounds
actually,
absolutely incredible.
Two things. I don't think this has a treble bleed mod in it, but it does retain high end really well when you turn the volume
Right.
pot down. My Strat really doesn't, but I'm gonna have to prove it now, aren't I? Yes, I know what you're gonna say.
an amazing sound. Awesome.
Actually, I mean, the Strat's just not pushing it as hard anyway.
Yeah.
So you're not getting anything like the treble response that you would get. More with the volume up.
Yep. Good sound.
It sounds great.
Good sounds.
Really does sound great.
So fat and punchy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. We're not mad keen on the modular nature of the everything else, but who's to say what's to come next in terms of the sidecar modules?
Yeah. Oh, look. The idea of having step down controls on the pot. So basically, that's what it's doing. It's changing the variable resistance from the potentiometer, and it's just putting different potentiometers in the circuit.
Yeah.
Great. But I think when you've got a pedal that reacts that well to your volume control,
Yeah.
I mean, I totally would use this. That sounds amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've been really, really impressed by them all today.
Me too. It's been a really interesting thing because, as you know, when you go down a road of, people will know that Dan really likes, well, fuzzes, but also stuff like OCD, King of Tone. I'm more into the kind of, well, home for me is more Tube Screamer-y, clonny, kind of mid-push world. But actually, this is all a long way from any of that.
Yeah.
And into a whole other territory. I don't have any of this kind of thing on my board at the moment. And I'm pretty certain that's going to change.
Yeah, well, I used the power driver for the 10 spirits when I did the 200 pound. That was the boost pedal, and that went after everything. And just amazing. So, and been using the broadcast as well. So I'm quite familiar with these two, and the massive joy that they can bring. Taylor.
One other thing about the broadcast.
Yes.
It's not horrifically expensive.
Well, that's a nice change.
It's kind of normal money.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, because you look at it and you think, that's 300 quid.
That is,
and it's not 300
That
quid.
is as good build quality as any pedal I have ever seen.
No, they're pretty sensible money.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, well done, guys. Awesome.
Good. That was good fun. That was good fun.
Fun.
I've learned something.
Good sounds. Good sounds.
Okay, before we go, a few thank yous. First of all, to our patrons on Patreon.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, guys.
Crowdfunding for creatives. Thank you very much for that. Secondly, our preferred exclusive retailers. If you're thinking about buying something in any of these territories, please check out their wares. In the USA, it is
Riff City Music.
Bong. In the UK and Europe, it is
Anderton's Music.
And in Australia, it is Pedal Empire.
Pedal Empire.
Hello, Matt.
My mate Matt from Pedal Empire.
They get a bell ring. So please do that. And finally, if you wish to purchase a garment such as this or that, or buy a mug or a beanie or some plectrums or some other things, and soon the D&M drive, we're just punting stuff out. Bargains, much cheapness. We've got a job lot of dodgy toasters. Some bloke down the market sold them to me. Suitcase. You want some toasters, mate? Anyway, yeah, please visit thatpedalshowstore.com.
Fantastic. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. And we'll see you next week.
Cheerio.
Cheers, guys. Bye.